you guys. Last couple of months was a little bit hectic and exciting. We are busy to finish all those engineerings and things for the Houdini game, and now we are thrilled to show where we are, to give you updates and everything. So for the updates, I'd like to hand over mic to Joe so he can give you more details about the progress and everything.
All right, hello everybody. Whoa, this is loud. This better. Okay. Well, we got kind of the early edition of the seminars out here, so thanks for everybody that's here. Was hoping some people would show up at 4 o'clock on a Thursday, and you guys did. So here we are with bringing Houdini out. It's been we bumped it up. We've done a lot of things to it to make it a better game. Since anyone has seen it in any of the past shows we've done this year. We've got 3 pieces here. I'm going to talk a little bit about the team that helped put it together, how we got to this point, and where we're going. So we'll take some questions later on. You guys got anything you want to talk about after we get through our little presentation. So what we're going to be doing, you can flip that. Okay, so design team, I was able to put together a really great team early on and continuing to this day. We had incredible help that we were able to find, which is hard in the industry where everybody gets gobbled up, looking for mechanical guys, looking for programmers, artists, sound guys, you name it. We were able to put something together, and we pulled off that first Houdini in a really small window where we had a piece of paper last November, and then we showed up at Texas with a couple of games that were shooting, and people that doubted then knew we were going to be real. We did talk about putting this game together and delivering it before the end of this year, 2017, and we are on track to do that. I know I kind of joked at one of the seminars we had that if we put one game in a box by December 31st, we're not lying to you guys, but we'll have more than one game in the box before December 31st. We're going to try to get some out to distribution, hopefully next month, maybe sooner, maybe the end of October. That's kind of aggressive at this point. But we're moving along. Things are happening in a big way. Our factories is in a good place now. We're building the factory, putting it together, getting our workstations set, and we're starting to move. So if anybody was skeptical or wondering what's going on with Houdini in production, we will be delivering before the end of this year, as we said early on this year. So I'm going to introduce everybody in the team. Josh Kugler does our rules programming, does some animations, kind of took care of that part of this. I do the mechanical side, do the layout, and Josh, between Josh and others in the group and on the team, puts life into that mechanical layout. And this is his first production game that he's been a part of. He's done a couple of games on his own. One of the guys from that puts them together from ground up and programs and the whole 9 yards. But this time he's doing a production game, and he's been pretty incredible in what he's done so far. You guys get to view it for the first time with all the new rules, modes, a lot of new animations, sounds, everything else that's in the game. Jim Thornton, who's right there. Jim can stand up. Jim's in engineering. He does a lot for the company. He wears a lot of hats. For those of you that know Jim, he knows this industry. He's been in it for a long time, since he was a little guy. So Jim knows a lot of people and has helped this company grow to this point. Jeff Bush, Jeff's right there. Jeff's an artist. Incredible job with the artwork on the game. We took it was his direction, it was his vision on how this thing came together. He didn't have too much put in his way. I think it's for maybe the first time in the industry, working in the industry, that you were able to do what he saw to do and not what he was either told or directed to do. So, and I think he can agree with that. I think it was about time that people got to see what Jeff could do. Look at Houdini, look at some of the detail that came out of Jeff that kind of blew us all away. So he's our guy. You guys really talk to him. He's a great guy. Pick his brain on how he gets these things and how he does them, but great guy to have on your team. Matt Kern is not here. Matt did our sounds, wrote the original music and everything for the game. Matt's done an incredible job. Came out with some nice scores early on, and now he's been filling in all the gaps, all the different sound calls, all the different voice calls. He works really closely with Josh, and the game has really come to life. There's a lot going on. We had a real fun time about a month ago. We're looking for crowd sounds and just miscellaneous sounds and whistling and booing and hissing and everything that goes from a theater. So we all kind of ganged up in one of the offices at our building and just did all kinds of crazy sound calls and cheers and jeers and everything else. And it was kind of a fun time. It was fun to get, people from the production line came in. We had everybody that was an employee come in, and Matt kind of directed it. And you can hear all the background sounds and things on the game, and that's a lot of the stuff that's in there. I'm sure he doctored it to make it sound even better. But we had a lot of fun doing that. Matt, I wish Matt was here. He deserves a good pat on the back. He's done a great job so far. Sophia Ryan, Sophia's right here. Sophia's handles our mechanics. She joined us a few months back. I don't even know how many months now, but from May. She's been handling our SolidWorks designs, modeling up our play field. We're trying to make that transition into a 3D world. Pinball can be done 2D. It's been done 2D for many years. Obviously I started on drafting boards, which if there's any young guys out there, they've probably never seen one of those. But Sophia's been a big help on that. She's got a lot of experience in the industry. Was over at Williams for 25 years. So she came over to get involved with what we're doing here, and it's been a big help up to this point. So it was great to get to Sophia in. We got Juan Chapo. Juan's our production manager. Juan has experience in the industry. He was back in Williams back in the day too. Has some other experience in pinball. So we brought him on, and he helped design the layout in the building. Any of you guys, once we, it's going to be probably next Expo, but some guys are able to come by and probably see the plant. We got a small place. We're not in a 100,000 square foot building. Hopefully someday we're building enough pinballs to support that. But Juan's doing what he can to make the square footage we have work for us. And it's so far so good. So we're that close to loading the lines and getting games off the lines. So and Juan's the guy that kind of helped put that all together. Leslie Mendez, Leslie's right over here. Leslie's got many years in procurement, purchasing. She's really helped us put this thing together to get production parts in-house. She can handle our vendors. Sometimes our vendors aren't really bringing things in when they should, but I don't want to put any blame on them. Thinking we were going to have all these parts in on a certain date, and you send out all your POs, and Leslie takes care of that, and then I see Leslie turning red and her hair all frazzled, and she's running around wanting to rip someone's head off because there's another vendor that says, I'm going to be late, or I'm going to change the pricing on you, or we're going to do something to mess up what you guys are doing, obviously unintentionally, and she's able to handle that. So Leslie's been great there, and for down the road, I just see her handling these things. Once you get to game number one, it gets a little bit easier. So it's never easy, but it gets a little easier. So that's who's here from our crew. The playfield artwork, you can see it in these pictures, and this is really true. The game was dark down at the flippers. We didn't have any external, we didn't have any lighting thrown down on there. The color schemes changed, and we lightened that playfield up. We added some spotlights. We took care of our lighting, and between the artwork changes and the lighting, the game really pops now. So there is no issues with being a dark playfield, especially down at the flippers where you really want to, you want that to be lit, well lit. So that's one of our changes that we've done since you guys have seen the game, wherever you may have seen it. We had a large plastic ramp that went up and around, and I cut it off right above the Houdini letters in one of the lanes. And it just kind of opens it up, cleans it up. And one thing that's pretty cool is that you can see it more, is right here where Houdini's hands almost look like they're coming out of the playfield to grab that white ramp. Was that planned? Maybe I'll say it. Yeah, sure it was, but it just worked out that way, man. It was happening here, but with the plastic ramp, and we all know down the road that plastic ramp's gonna fog up on you. It's hard to keep that clean. So it's again, it helps keeping the lower playfield cleaner. That's where usually you get all your dirt build up and everything. A lot of ball play down there, between that and pop-up areas. But we clean that up a little bit. You'll see it right away. It really opens up the bottom half of the playfield. We came out with the game with the marquee that was over the stage was vertical. Putting this thing together as quickly as we did, some of the artwork that we were looking at kind of fit better in that position. So if you think of the banners that hang outside of theaters, they're more elongated. So we went this way. But after a lot of feedback, a lot of talk between us all, we decided to rotate that display. And what it did was it opened up the view to the back panel. It kind of opened it up in a better way, and the display now is a theater marquee. We have some nice animation where we have marquee lights always running on there so we can get some movement out of there all the time. Game instructions, what do you shoot next? How many shots you got left to get in the stage? It's a interactive, informative. You don't have to leave the playfield to find out what's happening with the stage or what modes you're in. So it makes the gameplay deeper as far as what you're seeing on the playfield without leaving the playfield. So it's worked really well. Josh had to do, and our animators had to do a lot of changes to flip and move our, make everything fit in the screen. But hopefully, as you guys see it, you'll see that everything is integrated really well, and it worked out well to turn that, and it just fits better in the game. So you'll see that change. We added some custom spotlights. They're more the old style theater spotlights that we had sculpted. We were gonna go with 4 of them, but we kind of lose them in the back of the playfield because of all the other, everything else that's back there. So we ended up with 2. We just put them over the slings, right by our girls on the right and the left. They look great. That's what lights up Houdini. That's what lights up the middle of the playfield, and it just looks really cool. It's the same as the spotlights that are shown in the plastics up top near the stage. So you guys will see that similarity. The match as well, and those are on the game too. So you guys will see that. The one thing that people really liked about when we came out back in Texas was the 1 model, 1 price. And we're sticking to that. So we're not going to have 2 or 3 levels. We're not looking to do an LE. We're not looking to do a super LE. At this point, we're just kind of going back old school and giving you a game. It's going to be as loaded as we can make it. At At some point, it may be more of a la carte type of setup, where there'd be blades, or there'd be a topper, or there'd be a shaker motor setup, or something that you can add to it as you order your games. But we're not looking to have levels of games and convolute what we're selling. So we're keeping it simple as one model, one price. Everything pretty much stays the same as what you've seen. We haven't taken anything out of the game. As a matter of fact, what you'll see is we added to the game. We bumped our bill of material a little bit. I don't want to say that too loud because we don't want to go and have that come back at us, but you know, our owner here has let us kind of move forward with what we're doing. We didn't break the bank, we're in a good place, but we didn't have to change anything. So you got the real back glass, it's got the color LED, 15.6-inch color LED, powder coated armor, lollipop rails. What are those?
No, seminar rumah presentation challenge ada apa?
I wasn't sure what the lollipop. Stage and trunk, catapult, interactive toys, they're all still there. The catapult shot, if anybody has seen that shot, of throwing a ball over 20 inches down the side of the playfield, and we've nailed it. We've really refined that shot, refined the power to it, the way it works. We work with our power system, how we're getting power to that shot, and that shot is a lot more accurate than what you've seen. So we were in the low 90s when we first came out with the game, and now we got to be pushing mid to upper 90s and hitting it. As a matter of fact, one of the games out of the first three on the production models hasn't missed. There's one that's been in Josh's office, and he kept saying, it hasn't missed yet. So we're in a good place. And Josh has been working on some program too, where if it does miss, it's going to try to recalibrate itself as games play. So it should, you know, we should be able to remain consistent with that. And there are coil settings. If you go on location, like when we got here, we had it set, but we noticed that the power is a little different here. So you're able to bump it and bring it right back where you need it to be. Stage marquee, mini display, that's what we talked about. We turned it, brightened it up, put a nice marquee, plastic over the front of it. Went with a heavier plastic on the front, so it kind of brings it out. The art is spectacular, looks great on it. When you guys see it, you'll see what I'm talking about. The locks, chains, the planchette. If you guys see the games, we have locks and gears on each pop bumper, and then we connect them with chain. Obviously, Houdini is always wrapped in chains and getting out of chains somewhere, so the whole chain theme came early on. We were at a meeting just talking about it. I'm like, let's tie chains between the pop bumpers. Okay, so we tried it, it worked. Obviously, the chains are lighter than real chains, but the pops wouldn't work too well, so we did find that worked out great. We had the custom milk can, theater spotlights, were the new addition. I think, yeah, like I said, the playfield lightened up across the board, really just brings out the art and makes it a better playing environment than you guys are seeing. We do have one game out there with custom blades on it. I'd like to see, you know, get you guys feedback on what you think about this. It ultimately will be available. We're working now, you know, with our bill of material to see if we can fit these in. I was never a big proponent of blades until I saw what it did to the game on this game. And the change is awesome. So it kind of brings that art up to the sides. All you guys know about blades, you're all investing in blades, you're popping blades on all kinds of games. And I was never that guy that went after that. I got a few pins in myself, and I've never done the blades, but seeing is believing. So we're going to do our best to you know, get those either available to you in one way or another. They're going to be out there. So I think you guys will like it. Let me know. Talk to us about it. Let us know what you think about the, you know, the style, what we did with the blades on the game. We did come up with our own formulated magic glass, we're calling it Magic Glass. It's the Invisiglass, all the different glass that's out there. We have our own, it's our own formula. It's a beautiful glass. It's going to be available. Our pricing is not completed yet, but I think you'll be happy with our pricing. Happier than what might be out there now that you're thinking about purchasing. I'd hold off a little bit and see if you guys like our pricing and where we're going with this. It's standard glass for standard pinball. It fits any pinball. We're not doing anything crazy. It's a ½ inch longer, 3 inches wider, or whatever. It's not a wide body. It's not a longer playfield. Standard playfield glass fit any game out there besides wide bodies. And also, those are the blades. The shaker motor, we will have a shaker motor kit available. Josh is working on that, getting that programmed in. It's pretty cool. When you launch the ball, you get it in pops. There's all kinds of places that a shaker motor just brings out that kind of 3D feel that the game is reacting to you. So that's another, that's what I was talking about that a la carte. As soon as these things are available and they're bulletproof, as far as the shaker motor goes, that will be available for you guys who want to bump your game up and have that. The holes are in there, the T-nuts are in there, the wiring's there. It's just a matter of getting it programmed and getting it ready to go for production. Okay. What I'll do now is I'm going to turn it over to Josh. He's going to talk about our game rules, where he's at. Like I said, once you see the game, get out there and play it. Give it some time. Find one of us out there. Let us know what you're thinking. It's time. We're there. We're knocking on the door of production. This is for you guys. We made this happen. We're trying to get you a pinball at a little more reduced price. You don't have to put the big money out there. I mean, if we could make them cheaper and we can make them more economical for you, and we're still in a good place where we have enough on the game, that's our goal. We're trying to feed you guys pinballs that aren't going to break the bank. They're going to be reliable. We're going to set up a nice network for servicing. We're going to give you a good warranty. We're going to back our product. And what else is there but delivery? So we've got a few of our distributors here now. There'll be more flowing in. There's tons of potential customers here. You guys want you to fall in love with this game. Let us know things that you might think will make it better, things that you really like about it that we know. Let us know. We're open for all that. I'm not saying that every suggestion that comes in, we're going to run back to the office and put it in. But we're going to listen to you. We're going to be more of that friendly pinball company. That's our goal, is to have a relationship with you. We'll make our business thrive, and it'll give you guys a good product that is going to be backed. So I want to thank everybody here. Come out and see us. Come out and talk to us. Let us know what you think of the game, and have a blast this weekend. It's Expo time, so here we are.
I'm going to try and go through these game rules pretty quick, so read fast. We're not going to say everything that's on the slide. The goal in Houdini was, we talked about that there's 3 types of players out there. There's the novice, who's the person who comes to your house and says they still make pinball, or is out on location and sees one and, God, I've never seen this before. So you want to make sure you have a game that for somebody who's going to play for that first time and doesn't play often is going to have fun. You have your enthusiasts, which is what a lot of the people here are. Maybe you're not the greatest player in the world, you love pinball, you like to play. You want a game that's going to challenge you, that you're going to be able to understand, but you don't have to think too hard, you want to have fun. Then of course there's the hardcore players who are looking to strategize and maximize score and compete. So as I approached the rules, the goal was to try and have something for everybody, so everybody can enjoy the game. So the game has quite a bit of depth, and also has a lot of breadth, and we tried to do some things to make it, again, if you're that novice, you're going to be able to play something easily. So the objective of the game is to spell Houdini. And since there are 7 major parts of the game, a few of which also have a magician mode, which is obviously what we call a wizard mode, and then there's a master magician mode if you can actually get through all those things. Because the game has full RGB lighting, All of the objectives are color-coded. We try to keep the colors pretty straightforward, not a lot of swirling things all the time. So if you're in a particular mode and you know it's blue, then you know the blue shots are associated with that particular part of gameplay. The primary modes of the game are at the stage. When I started, Joe had just done the first sketch of the game. And he said, okay, we're going to have this stage mechanism, and that's where Houdini's going to do his act. So we're going to have this trunk that we're going to throw the ball 20 inches into this trunk. And he goes, okay, go make the rules. And first I said, really, we're going to throw a ball 20 inches into a trunk and it's going to work? And he said, yeah, it's going to work. And I was shocked until the first time I saw it. It was pretty amazing. So that was obviously going to be multi-ball. We'll come to that in a second. Stages where all your modes take place. There are 10 of those. There's a video mode, a couple of multi-balls mixed in there as well. You use the flippers to rotate. That marquee, Joe saw it, that's going to tell you what mode, what illusion or escape is going to happen at the stage next. You hit it to open it. A couple other ways to hit it through some of those other shots that'll open it for you quicker. Most important is if you shoot what we call stage alley to start a mode, it doubles the value of that mode. So if you're in that third group of people who are always figuring out how do I maximize score, you always want to start your modes that way. Red, for the most part, anytime you see something flashing red in the game, it's associated with a stage mode. Seance multi-ball. The multi-ball from when you can't hit a shot. When you look at our layout, there are almost no posts in the entire game. Typically where you have a post, you'll find these very thin stand-up targets. So when you're not hitting those shots, you're hitting those targets. If you're going to spell seance, it's a 3-ball multi-ball with 3 magnets going crazy in there. If you spell seance for the jackpot, if you score for the show, I think it is 1 jackpot, you can earn return from beyond. I'll talk about more about that later. And its color is teal. And I think a lot of people know that Houdini spent a lot of time debunking psychics. He very much believed in the afterlife. He wanted to reach the afterlife and communicate from the afterlife. He spent a lot of time getting that, so we included this as a tribute to that part of his life. Trump multi-ball, this is kind of your 90s style. There's all these modes going on, but at the same time you can be working towards a Trump multi-ball. Basically, lock, relight, lock, relight, start multi-ball. At the trunk, and it's turquoise lighting will guide you through that. Harry Houdini was a silent movie star in the early days of movies. He was also a producer and a director. He did 5 movies. I do not recommend watching them. Joe and I have both sat through them. The Grim Game is actually, that one's pretty good. The others, and the problem is it's not even like you can watch it while doing something else, because it's a silent movie, you actually have to watch it. So, kind of painful at times. You'll know when you're in a silent movie mode because the display will be in black and white. Silent movies all the time. You'll also notice it because it's got a silent movie soundtrack. It's just pure piano and fewer voice calls. Your progress on that is tracked through the chain links towards the bottom, and the color is blue. One of the things Houdini would do as he get to a new city is he would arrange to get thrown into jail and escape to get free press in the newspaper. So we have 5 different hurry-ups based on that. You start them at what's called the jail by spelling escape, which are stand-up targets. There's different difficulty levels, and this is green. Houdini was a spy for the government. At least some people believe that. It's never been completely proven. My belief is if he was a spy, it's not like he was telling people. But it is believed because of his travels he was able to do that. So we have what we call secret missions are combos. A lot of games have combos. In our case, it's very specific. You're working on one at a time. It remains active until you complete it, and then you're able to start the next one. They increase in difficulty, and they increase in points. And that's pink. I call it purple. Everybody tells me it's pink. So. Magic Shop is your standard kind of mystery awards. Spinner will get it going. You'll find a couple of nice Easter eggs in there. Ultimately, like everything else, this can help you earn a Houdini letter. Depending on settings, you can sometimes get 2 there. And that's yellow, even though you won't see much yellow. For those high strategy players, the Milcan multiplier is your friend. This is a tricky shot on the lower left side that's a loop that immediately feeds back to the flipper, and then you have to hit a ramp immediately in order to increase the multiplier. And if you hit it quickly enough, you can sometimes double it up and advance it 2 times up to 2 or 3x. And orange. So between the stage alley shot with the max mill can, you can be working at 8x on your modes. Easier said than done. There are 2 targets lower down on either side of the playfield. These are the magic targets. These are your best friends. Because no matter what you were doing, they're going to help you. If you're in a mode, it'll help advance you through the mode. If there's no mode going, it'll add escape letters or seance letters or film letters. And also in film modes, again, it'll help advance you through a mode. So sometimes you'll start something, also you're into the next phase of it because you luckily hit a magic target. When we started, one of the few things Joe asked for in the game was he wanted there to be mini games when you drain. It was something he had done in a couple of his other games, and he really liked that idea. So there's 2 different ones. They're tied to each of the outlanes. One is Return from Beyond, the other is Escape Death. Return from Beyond, like I said, you earn it by scoring jackpots and Seance multi-ball. And what it is, you have 30 flips to spell Seance. You hit those targets. If at the end of the 30 flips you haven't done so, your ball ends. If you spell Seance within 30 flips, you continue right where you left off. Escape Death, similar, except it's a 30-second to spell the escape targets. You can light this actually through the magic shop, and if that's how it got lit initially, it'll bounce back and forth with the flipper. So if you're draining, you have that chance to move it. But if you've earned it one of the other ways, it's locked into whichever side that is. You earn it here, then earn one of the others, and you just basically have both lit. All right, almost done here. There's a bonus multiplier, because it's pinball, you gotta have a bonus multiplier. The pops will advance that. There is an extra reward if you get enough pops. Illusions, magic shop visits, chain links, those are the things that typically apply towards your bonus at the end, as well as ramps and loops. So what's a little different here is we take your total ramps, we multiply it by what was the highest number of consecutive ramps you've had during your game. So if at some point you manage to do 5 ramps in a row, 30 total, well then it's 150 versus 30. So it kind of gives you some points when you loop, but then you kind of get that ability to keep benefiting from it. So as Joe mentioned, we've been working hard. The factory is ready to go. So we've got some photos we're going to take you through. If there's questions on it, we'll make Juan answer the questions, or you can come by the booth and ask Juan. The only thing I know about is how a sandbox works, and some of you know that, Joe. Okay. Our beautiful rotisseries. As you can see here, we have the line is set up. As Joe said, we're pretty tight on space. So it actually starts way down here. You can make out is where the cabinet line is. Then we come up and around. We've got, because of space challenges, we have sub-assembly stations there in the middle. So there's a little bit of view of the line coming back up. So you can see they're in the process of getting all the parts in place. These are our rotisseries. I already had a bunch of people ask where they could buy them. They're pretty heavy duty. We talked about maybe getting a slightly lighter version made, but they're really nice where they just pop in using the regular hanger brackets. So for somebody who asked that question, that's the second thing that happens on the assembly line. Again, some people know that joke. This is kind of the final test area. Before we go forward, more of the workstations. Cabinet line, and the box back box line. And I think that concludes what we have from the factory tour. Hopefully next year, I'm sure we'll look to hold something out there for people who want to come take a look at it. And Balcer's going to do a few tours this week, but obviously it's not quite up and running with stuff going down the line. But Leslie's pretty much gotten all the parts in, so I know it's just sometime in the next week or so. All hell's going to break loose, and then my blood pressure's really going to go up. And it's kind of been a running joke for a little while. I go into the back of the factory to see how things are progressing. I joke, okay, things are moving really quick right now. My blood pressure's going up. I got to get the code done. And then there'll be some delay. I'll be like, okay, I'm feeling a little better. And it's been doing this lately. So at this point, we're just going to open it up for some Q&A.
Do you have an idea in your mind on how many games you're planning on producing?
As many as we can possibly build. I'm thinking 1 million. That sounds like a good number, because we really have one more time to design the next one. I don't know if we have a specific number at this point.
Yeah, we're released right now for 1,000 pieces. So, and we haven't touched overseas, we haven't touched anything out of the US. You know, once the game gets out there, it'll start to soak out there, and I think that's when you start, you know, our distributors will start seeing better sales. They'll have some, you know, they'll have games for their showrooms. So, you know, initially coming out of the box, we know that we're close to that number. And you know, talking to all of our distributors in the U.S. that, you know, 1,000-piece initial release was right on par with where we were at, just on what people have seen at shows. So, like I said, once we get them out there, we get our distributors some games, start filling some of their orders, and then it starts, you know, it'll start picking up. You know, hopefully this game is easy enough to service, it's easy enough to clean, so we're hoping to start to put it then back on the streets. You know, we've seen that kind of fall off over the years to almost dead, where the collector market has, you know, really kept the pinball alive as opposed to the streets. But now the barcades are starting to get bigger, they're popping up all around. I'm seeing more, I'm seeing, you know, a pin here or there in a bar lounge type of thing. You're starting to see a little bit more coming back. So if we could give them a game that works well, it is easy to wipe down, keep it clean, you know, I think that's going to generate more sales for us also.